à tous. Merci de votre participation. Pour écouter notre session en français, veuillez cliquer en bas de votre écran sur l'onglet Interprétation et sélectionner le drapeau français.
Hello, bonjour, habari za leo. My name is Kevin Mutia.
Solofina Nekesa.
Lauren Arnza.
Ryan Fisher, Professional Officer at ICLE Africa. On behalf of ICLE Africa, the African Center for Cities, our future cities, and partners, I'm excited to welcome all of you to the Rise Africa 2021 Action Festival.
Rise Africa has been growing as a platform of thinkers, doers, enablers, committed to inspiring action for sustainable cities.
Rise Africa is about building active networks across academia, government, private sector, civil society, and the arts.
Our entry point is based not on articulating problems followed by proposing solutions, but rather on celebrating our cities as places of innovation and culture, while asking what more we can do to make them sustainable, inclusive, and vibrant.
This festival is hosting 46 sessions over 5 days from across 16 countries in Africa and the world. Every session aims to share new ideas, showcase ongoing actions, and launch new initiatives by bringing participants together to chart a new route forward.
We hope that the festival program will inspire you to commit to one or more specific actions that you or your organizations will take on. As this session closes, you will be redirected to a survey in which you can articulate these actions. We will follow up on this committed action throughout the year and offer resources, connections, and support. In this way, we are testing the idea that events can galvanize action, and we hope that you will join us in this effort.
Beyond this session, there are many ways to take part in the festival.
Register for further sessions.
Vote for your favorites in the photo competition.
Test your knowledge of African cities from our daily quiz.
Watch a variety of inspiring video provocations.
And listen and dance to the Rise Africa 2021 playlist.
We hope that you will make all attempts to reach out to new people and build lasting connections.
Before we begin, it's important to note that this session is being recorded and that by participating, you are consenting to be recorded. All recordings will be available on the program page after the festival.
Creative expression is vital for creating new futures for our cities. So we invite you to enter this session in the spirit of creativity and dreaming.
To my future children, I bequeath this continent, borders lowered and turned into a soft pile of dust, smooth sand under steady feet. Your birthright is a country of flowers, a city that holds you even with your complicated lineage, the way this city has held my heart, held its arms out for all of the lost people who found solace in it. Your heirloom is this land and all its wormholes, portals hidden in plain sight between city skyscrapers, where people from here resemble people from far away places, and differences are muted while life happens. I reimagine you a country that does not cage its doves, a bequest of waters that pool precious histories, mountains that stand guard to protect against the unknown, a nation who preserves compassion over everything else, a mouth that can hum many languages, and a spirit that rises above its fears.
Hello everyone, I hope everyone can hear me. It's a pleasure to be connected with you today in this session. I hope everyone is safe. I'm Willie Frank. I'm joining from Ivory Coast, but we are based in Yaounde, Cameroon. So our session today is about participatory mapping in Yaounde and its metropolitan area for better decision making. So the project is carried by the diversity space. It's like the laboratory we create a urban lab, and we intend to transform the challenges that our city face today into opportunities by providing tools based on open source technology. So today, Derek, Christine, and I will be presenting our own experience on what we have been doing for cities to be more resilient. So our project is part of a global project, but what the diversity space intend to provide is some specific tools, very innovative tool for the digital ecosystem to challenge all those global issues, even though we know the action has to be local. So I will be presenting the context of our project with some presentation now. Later on, Derek will give you some insight of what the outputs of some of this project that we did in Yaounde. We are focused on urban, on resilient and flood issue in Yaounde. And then Christine also will provide a tool that we launched last month. That is something that will connect all the actors at the local level in order to enable a spatial dialogue with all those actors. So if everyone is okay, I may start my presentation. So I would like to specify that this project is part of a global project that focuses on building disaster resilience in the sub-Saharan Africa. This project is implemented by the World Bank with support of the Global Facility for Disaster Reduction and Recovery. So this global project is carried in many cities in Africa, just to have a map on the cities where the World Bank project is being carried, and for some project is already closed in those countries. We have many cities there. So we work on Yaounde and Yaoundere, and we are currently working in the same topic in city of Douala today. So we will focus on the Yaounde experience today. Just to give a rapid background of what is open cities, as we all know, the very fast urbanization of our cities, let's say this urban expansion have a lot of challenges. That this also increased some vulnerability of the population, and also to challenge all this issue, we really need up-to-date data. And there's a huge digital map gap in Africa. You know, for example, if we take the case of Europe, we can say like 87% of the territory is known, but only 15% in Africa. So it was very interesting in this context to build local skill and to create data that we need to enable to empower the ecosystem at the local level. The methodology was just simple. We compared open geospatial data. So also we work on specific system and tool with a lot of capacity building of the local actors. So just to say, every time we work on this project in cities, as it was the case in Yaounde, we really focus on connecting the local government, the university, and also the community locally. So for Yaounde, this is a picture, a photo of Yaounde. Yaounde is often called the city of 7 hills. So as you can see, the city is surrounded by some hills there. It's a huge potential for tourists, but it's also, as you can see on this picture, very challenging because we have like some landslide, a lot of flood. So the specificity of Yaounde is something that we have to take in case. So this was the challenges we focused on was flooding, and these were the 2 cities on which we focus our project. So what is important there also to take is that the Minister of Urban Planning wanted to carry out some urban restoration by bringing some construction of infrastructure, road and rail, and also development of specific facilities. And in this context, it was very important for them to have up-to-date data and also technical, social, and scientific data in order to have more information on the, let's say, the specification of the infrastructure they need to build. And by providing them this information, they were able to plan and to take decisions. on this. So just to summarize, that is the procedure we use in this context. The first step, we collect some data, many type of data. We have data on the rainfall. We map the land use based on OpenStreetMap also. We bring into it a digital terrain model, and we develop using open source modeling, digital modeling for the flooding area, and we create also some risk map, and all those documents were used to support the urban planning. So what is really interesting in our case is that we really think it's interesting to combine multiple sources of scientific data, but also to integrate citizen participation to improve this consideration of risk in the urban area. This is the traditional approach. That is, usually we use the digital modeling with the risk map to define guidelines for planning. And this, with the decision maker, these data are used to plan and to regulate the activities of the population in some risk area or in the city. But what we notice here is that usually populations are not connected or not included in this, let's say, approach. So that is why we really think that it was really important to think about a very integrative and integrated approach so population will be more connected. Let me give you some example of how we think this is important. If you compare the input of population to the digital modeling, the scientific data is something that is very important, but this data that we have from population by the participatory mapping allowed us to contrast the result of the calibration model. That is, for instance, you can have an area on which you will not focus because this scientific model does not, does not indicate a risk specifically there, but maybe the population will indicate that in this area we have some problem. So you need to think about it also. And with the scientific model, you cannot know what is the consequence of the flooding or inundation in the specific area, but by discussing with the population, you can have this information also. So we really think merging these two approaches are very important. So we provided in our, let's say, interview grid, some specific indicators, like when we started, we started by identifying the zone, the area where there are floods, and we have some like general information with the population, with the focus group, like what are the type of damage they used to have in the specific area? Are there some rescue actors that intervene when there is a problem? And also what those information like the height, the type of the building, help us to define the vulnerability of this population in this area. So this is some general information that we use to ask to the population on field to have their own feedback on this issue. Also, we also characterize for each area the float. That is the height of the water, duration of the float. We have many questions where like quantitative consequence of this issue. Are there some deaths, relocation, and who are the actors that are involved into it? What lesson can we have from there? So this is something that we notice even in, like in Ivory Coast today, we are carrying a similar topic, and what we see is that population are very aware on what is going, what is done and what is going on the field. So we carry out some training workshop with these are the mappers. We work this is some university students from Eureka Jo, that is a training center. Some students are for university also, and the OpenStreetMap community. It was very important to explain what are the challenges of the project and to explain to them why and what do we need, what type of data model do we need to challenge this issue on ground. Also to give them the global and general knowledge on the modelization, even though they were not always all aware of this. So these are the field survey. So very easy because we have the possibility today with the smartphone to have the GPS implement into it. We can even have satellite image into the smartphone today to map. So this makes the survey very easy and more accurate for the mapping. So this is how it works. You go on field, the map, it brings some characterization of all those physical issues on ground. And what was very interesting there is that a huge part of this data is shared and is freely accessible. And we focus on OpenStreetMap for this. So for this satellite imagery, just to say this is the basic information we need, because from this imagery that is freely available, we can digitalize building, road, land use. We can provide very, very fast a beautiful and accurate map that can help to challenge this issue. Now we just have to overlay on this the float, and with the modeling and with the participatory mapping to see what the population feel on the ground, and also to see the impact of those issues on economic activities or specific activities. We will see some float and risk map that the RIG will be presenting to us. So this is what we did on the participatory mapping. We bring together population, and then we identify some specific zone, and then we work based on this grid equation. So some maps are created. We will see more in detail the atlas that we created on Yaounde. So these are some pictures, because we used, the last time we worked on ground, we went even in the raining season on field to identify if what the population told us was ready, was the real situation when there is raining on field. So what, as you can see on this picture, people are really, really challenging these issues. So this is the local population on ground when the rain is there already, no choice. They just have to wait for the flow to go so they can maybe start their activities also. So this is something they will be presenting now. I think we have some, for this part, this is the data we produce. From the data we produce is city platform. That's a geo platform with all this information to enable everyone to access to information. Also have the atlas and data visualization. Also have some cartoon and some mobile application there. And I think they will be presenting in more detail. So I would just say there's a lot of potential. Yes, we have a lot of challenges, but I think we can transform these challenges into potential, because we have a lot of opportunities and a lot of assets on which we can base on field with using every citizen. As we can see, people are trained on using remote mapping. They can map on Yaounde even without being in the city. This is something that is very interesting also. We also carry out a lot of field survey using new technology like drones. We measure the drain, and people are really, the capacity are really in force. So this is something that's interesting. And even all those, let's say, training documents are available, and people in the university also integrate this into the curricula so they can have a new way to learn geography in the university. So, Derek, if you are available, maybe you can share your screen. So what I wanted to say on my first part presentation is that it's very important when we work on this issue to combine several sources of data. Scientific data also is very, very important, but involving citizens is very necessary if we really want to challenge and to transform this new reality into opportunities for a sustainable future. So I'll just leave the floor to the Rick to give us some demo of what we had in Yaounde, and then we will explain with Christine from the platform that is a geospatial and open platform for city, how we intend to connect all the digital ecosystem and the partner, the stakeholders in the same city using a social network connected to this job platform in order to challenge all those issues. Thank you for listening. I think I will stop my screen so you can share, please.
So thank you, Willie. So let me just quickly share my screen. Okay. So can you all see my screen?
Yes, Lyric. It's okay.
Have you loaded already?
It's loading.
So thank you, Willie, for this great introduction. So it's going to make my work easy on the presentation of the deliverables. So as Willie mentioned already, we're working on this project in partnership with the Ministry of Urban Planning, the World Bank, and we are working as a technical assistance to produce these deliverables that's going to help local councils to manage their territory. So what we tried to identify at the start of the project was the audience, the medium, the purpose. So the audience was like, who are the deliverables going to be delivered? Is it to the ministry? Is it to the local councils? Is it to the populations? Who are the actors of the project? And we first of all identify all these actors, and then now we decided on which type of medium we want the deliverables. So we decided that we want paper maps, we wanted to build a job portal, and we wanted to build a cartoon so that everybody, every sector should be implicated or should feel concerned or should get a deliverable that he can read and understand what the project is about. So one of the deliverables is this portal that we built for Yaounde 5. Yaounde 5 is one of the Yaounde 7, pardon, is one of the 7 municipalities of Yaounde. And within the 7 municipalities, we work on 2 municipalities. So this portal, we have the same for Yaounde 5. That's another municipality on which we work. So this portal is basically to present the data that was collected, the flooded areas that was modeled, and make it ready and available to the council so they can actually come to the portal, see what is has been done, where they can easily get the data or visualize the data and easily make some decisions. So the portal is very simple and intuitive. So here we have a menu, we have a search bar, and we have the language. Since Cameroon is a bilingual language, you can switch from English to French from here. Okay. So we can switch from English to French on this portal. So right now, I'll leave it French. So also, we have some base maps that we have identified. These are mostly open source base maps that we can have, and also some satellite imagery like S3 map docs, satellite imagery that are readily available. We also have structured the data collected to 12 thematics that we have here. And also, this is still in construction where we're going to put all the resources, that is the maps that have been produced during the project, and all the documentation, the reports will be available on this portal. So we want to centralize all the data in relation to the project on one place so that the actors or the stakeholders can easily have access to them. So the first thing we want to present is they can easily switch the base maps as really spoke about. And we really also build this terrain model behind to make to give it this, since we're working on flood modeling, to really make them see how this flood is related to the terrain. We also have some satellite imagery that can be activated here, and we can do like a comparison between two types of images. That if I choose this one and the satellite imagery box, I can do a comparison to see actually if there's a gap in the mapping of the data. If there's a gap in an area where maybe some buildings have not been mapped, this can easily, or decisions can easily be taken by the council to go and map these areas and see if these areas falls in flood affected areas. So this is one of the tools we wanted to do. Also, we have these teams where we have all the information. So we have public services, we have tourism, we have economic activities. So all these activities can be selected. And these are the activities that were mapped on the field using QField, as really showed on this presentation. That is a mobile application that field mappers went on the field to collect data with. So let me just off this layer. Activate this. Okay. So it'll take some time to load. My connection is not good. So we can see the two councils here, this area. So you can click on one of them and you see the information on there. Also, you have a wide variety of information. You have schools, you have economic activities. So I can maybe want to see banks, insurance, doctors. Everywhere they are just going to pop up on the map. So also, I can see, pardon, I can decide also to maybe see some schools. I'll go to having to follow my connection. I'll go to education. What's going on? Sorry. So I'll go on education and I'm going to activate the layers and I'm going to see everything pop up on the map. So one interesting thing about this tool is that it's built on open source technology, that is QG Server. So it is highly compatible with QGIS. So if you can even build your layers in QGIS and maybe put them on QG Server, and then just pull it into the portal. And since it's the portal runs on QG Server, all the styling and everything that have been made in QGIS are going to appear on the portal. And that's exactly what we did with the flood areas after we mapped them. What's happening? That's exactly what we did with the flood areas after mapping them. So we just did the styling in QGIS, and then we pulled it into QG Server, and then called it on the portal. So my network let me do. Then here we have the flooded layers that we created for the flood modeling. me just try refreshing the page. I don't know what. Okay, I will just try to stop my video camera to see if it makes things better.
Lyric, I have a better internet. If you want, I can share the screen here from here.
Okay, I think now it's better. So I was at the level of presenting the flooded layers that we modeled, and then we did all the styling in QGIS, and we just caught the layer in the portal. So you can, as we just activate, you can see the layer of flooded areas that we was talking about. And this is the layers that was generated through the mathematical modeling. So here we have rainfall input, terrain model, and land use in order to generate this model. But on the other side, we know that the model, the mathematical model, does not inform us on the causes of the floods. Sometimes we need those causes to take effective action and to include the population into the process. That's why we did a participatory approach where we went on the field, we met the chiefs, met the population, and with the population, we did a participatory mapping or zoning of the flooded areas. And we overlaid these areas too that we have here on our flooded areas to see if exactly the model is telling us the same truth as what the population told us. And we were really surprised. It was really good in order to mix the two approaches. So now we don't only have a zoning of flooded areas, we also have the causes of the floods. And now the actor or the mayor who wants to take action can now know that, okay, in this particular area, there are floods, but the floods are due to maybe this trash in the canal, maybe the population are built close to the canal, and he exactly knows what is wrong in that area and can take better decisions. So that was one of the reasons why we built this tool. This tool will be mostly addressed to the technical person of the municipality. That's maybe the GIS manager of the municipality. That's going to use this tool to help the mayor take better decisions. Now, another set of another deliverable that we also had was the maps that were produced for the two municipalities. That was Yaounde 5 and Yaounde 7. So these maps also will be given to every council of the municipality so that they can use it in their local council to manage, to do better management. This is very important because during the survey, we went to each and every one of these councils and we realized some councils do not even have a basic map of their administrative boundaries. So we thought, like, how do they even manage to manage their territory when they don't even have the basic information to do so? So we thought it wise to produce these maps at the council level. So each and every council now have its own map, risk map for its area, and knows exactly where is high risk and where is low risk in its areas. So if he wants to do construction projects, he should exactly know where to do and where not to do these projects. One of the interesting things also that Billy was highlighting in his speech is when we overlaid now the points or the POIs that we collected in the two municipalities on the flooded areas, we saw that many economic activities were affected, social infrastructures too were affected. And even as I'm going to show in in the data visualization that is coming, you will see that the Ministry of Urban Planning even had some projects that they wanted to implement in these municipalities, but they were not even aware that these projects were in flooded areas. So these maps really help them to reconsider their project allocations. So these are the deliverables that were produced. Another deliverable also, as we said, we wanted to touch all the stakeholders, that is even the local population. So we did also a cartoon in order to highlight the issue. So the cartoon basically starts with the problem, that is the flood, and the population that is angry against the municipality that's not taking action, because they feel they are paying their taxes, they're doing all the social contributions that is required from them, but on the other hand, they are not receiving any help from the municipality. So they go for a strike in front of the municipality, and seeing this, the mayor had to make decisions. So this decision was then implemented through the project of development of inclusive and resilient cities of the Ministry of Health in partnership with the World Bank. So in the context of this project now, SOGEFI was, as a technical assistance, now had to go to the field and do a participatory mapping. And this participatory mapping starts by meeting the hierarchy. So we start from the chiefs, because you cannot just come and enter in an area without seeing the chief. Your work is not going to bear fruits. So you really need to get everybody engaged in the process in order to have a good output of the delivery. So the first step is to see the chiefs, and now the chiefs help introduce us to the populations, and with the help of the populations, we can really map the floods and also get the causes and consequences of the floods. And here you can see a bridge, some of the images showing the bridge that maybe is obstructed by trash. And that's the main reason why this area is flooded, or even trash cans that are placed on roads and make it difficult for people to work. Also, Willie was talking of the training. So one of the major aspects of this project was the training of the university and also the stakeholders. So the university, we train them in topographic data acquisition, that is using data station or drones. We also use mobile phones to collect POIs, and also train them in flood modeling and risk assessment. And this whole project ends up now at the level of the decision makers that use the maps that have been produced in order to make informed decisions. That is, maybe they have to destroy some people and relocate them in areas where they are less exposed to floods. But also, we thought it wise that it's not, in order to make the project sustainable in time, we really need to get the population continuously engaged. And we did this by building a mobile application for the population, where each and every citizen can download the application and maybe report some issues that is happening in your community. It may be a road is blocked with trash. You can easily inform that directly to the municipality, so that the municipality can immediately take action. So we are trying to build also a bottom-up initiative where the population is at the center of the project. Another deliverable that we had, and this is the final that I'm going to present, is the data visualization of the project. So as we said, some people will better feel the project when they see it in form of data visualization. Some better feel it when they see it in form of maps. Some better feel when you see it in form of cartoons, and some see it when it's form of portal. Every sector is actually satisfied at the end of this project. So this is the data visualization that we did for the two municipalities. That's Yaounde 5, Yaounde 7. So basically, the visualization will start by the localization of the area of the project, that is Cameroon. And then it's going to take a little bit on time. So the project is basically found in Cameroon. So Cameroon, if people don't, somebody don't know, Cameroon is Central Africa. So that's the country of the lions. And then it's particularly in Yaounde and in the two municipalities of Yaounde 5 and Yaounde 7. So here we're just showing some characteristics of the area. So that is an area where you have 265,000 people living. 265,000 people living. So it's really an area of great importance. That's a highly dense population area. So it was really of great concern in order to this project. So here we see the hydrology of the area, and then we see the buildings that were present in the area before 2010, and we can see that in 2010 some parts of the area was not yet built, and then we see in pink or in violet the buildings that added themselves between 2010 and 2020. So that was huge in terms of urbanization. So the impact of floods, when we did the model, we found out that most of these people that were newly established in flood-prone areas, and they were not even aware of that. Sometimes they're not even aware of that when they are establishing themselves. So here in orange is the are the areas that were mapped during the participatory approach with the population. So we see that it's also well superimposed with the model. And now in red, we see the areas that are affected, the buildings that are affected by the flood areas. So we see that a high percentage of the buildings in this area are in flooded areas. So all these populations need to be relocated, or maybe a better action to be taken in order to make them resilient to floods. Just quickly. So now here we see this was the area that was the Ministry of Urban Planning wanted to do. So they had some projects here, wanted to build they wanted to build public lighting, they wanted to build dams. Before that, they planned this project. So there's infrastructure was positioned in areas that were flood prone. And when we did this flood mapping, we realized that since the projects are in flood prone areas, they need to relocate this project or the resources. Now, it's the same thing that happened in Yaounde 5. Yaounde 5 is a higher risk area because we have this dam that is in the northwest of the area, and this dam is like a water treatment plant that delivers water in the whole town of Yaounde. And in the presentation of Willie, we did also a simulation of in case this dam comes to break. And we realized that if this dam comes to break, close to a great part of the city is flooded. And this everybody around this dam is high risk, population. So this is just the hydrology, and also as did in orange, in yellow padding the buildings before 2010, and violet the buildings after 2010. And when we superimpose them with the flood areas, we could now extract the buildings that were at risk in red. And all this really help the stakeholders to take better decisions. And still in this municipality, the ministry also had some projects that they wanted to do in the area. And after the flood modeling that we did, they realized that some of the projects were flood-prone areas, so they decided to do some reallocation in order to have a better impact at the end. So I think I'm going to stop here for my presentation. And if there are any questions, then we're going to come back. I'm going to give the floor to Christine. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you very much. Just to follow before, I think, Christine, you can share your screen. You can prepare your screen. Just to add that this was a first part. What we decided after the project was to base on this data and this knowledge we had on building platform to focus on a second pillar, that is connecting stakeholders at the local level based on a social network we created to connect on this platform, something that Christine is going to present to us. Thank you, Christine. I think you have the floor.
Okay. Thank you, Derek. Can you please stop sharing your screen so that I can also share mine? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks, Derek. Thanks, Willie, for the wonderful presentation. So I am going to present on the social network part, where I'm going to focus on the specific user cases that we created. So in this part, I'm just trying to show you like the next step for GeoSim platform. So this, what we are trying to do is we intend to create an interaction platform, which we are calling the social network, that is gonna connect the decision makers and the local citizens. So here with me, I have examples of various user cases that are going to relate to the different users that are going to have access to our platform and how it's going to help the decision makers to come up with decisions that will benefit the communities. Okay, so our first user case is Willie. Willie is an OSM contributor, and Willie is a student, someone who's just finished his studies from the university, and he's from Yaounde, Cameroon. So Willie has his own frustrations and needs that are going to be addressed by the GeoSim platform. So some of the frustrations that Willie has is that the OSM diary is not user-friendly, that he gets lost in the many tools and services that exist around the OSM data, and also that OSM does not allow him to download data. So his major needs are that Willie wants to connect with other contributors to exchange with them, and so that they can help each other by sharing data. Willie also wants to be able to show his past and current projects, whereby he can share with other people. Willie also wants to find out about existing projects and the other different actors in the ecosystem. So this platform is going to help Willie to be able to achieve his needs. And the aim of Willie is, as you can see from the needs that I've just explained to you, is that Willie wants to enhance his experience, to gain more visibility, and also to be able to find opportunities within the ecosystem. So this platform is going to help someone like Willie, who is an OSM contributor, to be able to address some of the needs that they were lacking. So, my second user case is a GIS technical manager. His name is Yaounde, and Yaounde is a manager. He works for the council. So Yaounde's major frustrations are that there is lack of mapping data, lack of addresses, like this could be taxes, and there's also lack of reporting, maybe a proper reporting structure, or maybe there's something like a leakage in the system. And also there is lack of communication, like direct communication with the citizens, which is leading to a misunderstanding or unpopularity of the issues that they are dealing with as the ministry or as the council. So now, what does Yaounde want to, what are his needs? So his needs are, he wants to be collecting data which is up to date, and he also wants to ensure that there is a follow-up of the maintenances that the council is working on. And Yaounde also wants to communicate with his citizens on the actions that the council is taking within his territory. So what Willie aims to, Yaounde, I keep mentioning Willie. Yaounde, what Yaounde aims to achieve is that he wants to be able, that the town council should enable to have up-to-date community maps, up-to-date information, and up-to-date communication with their citizens. So all this is going to be addressed by the GeoSem platform that we are offering you. So our other example of a user case is an NGO program manager. I'll call her Christine. So this program manager is from France, and then she also has her own frustrations. So Christine lacks resources. These resources could be lack of data, specific data, of course, lack of optimization. There's lack of monitoring and evaluation of projects. There's also lack of poor functioning of coordinating bodies. There are no tools to coordinate with clusters. So what Christine wants to achieve, what her needs are, is that she wants to know and to be able to locate her organization with the current and planned projects that are going on. And also, Christine wants to be able to be transparent with her work and be able to receive feedback from the citizens directly. And also, Christine wants to, she wants to be able to invest, invest in opportunities that are raised by the local communities, by the local citizens. So in general, Christine's aim is to make useful projects at the right place and at the right time by coordinating with other people, which could be other sector players and also the local citizens. So this platform is gonna offer Christine that access to her needs and also to her aims. So our other example of a user case, this could just be a normal citizen who's just a member of a community. So this one is someone who's maybe they don't have any role in any organization, or they just a stay-at-home mom. So her name is Alice, and she also has her own frustrations. So her frustrations could be difficulty to report the problems that she is facing, whether at home or in her community, and also difficulty to know what is planned in the neighborhood or city where she's living in. And also she could have difficulties in connecting with the decision makers, which could be the politicians, people in the council or in the NGOs. So now what Alice wants to achieve is that she wants to be able to report these happenings in her household or in her community. She also wants to be able to give an opinion of the actions that the decision makers will be taking in their community. And also she would like to have transparency, like for the public, including her, in the works and the progress that the decision makers are making. So all this, as you can see, this stay-at-home mom will be able to gain access and be able to use this platform at the comfort of her home to achieve all the needs that she wants to. So now I'm gonna look at our 4 user case examples. I'll start with the OSM contributor. So if you, in analysis of these users, you're gonna see that what they want for the OSM contributor, what he wants more is that there should be visibility to show the projects that he is working on, to be able to find new opportunities and to be part of a community. This could be events, this could be groups, this could be projects that he wants access to. And then for the GIS technical manager, what he wants is that he wants to be able to monitor his organization's projects. He wants to be able to communicate and be transparent about his organization's projects. And he also wants to be able to recruit and call on contributors using the same platform. And lastly, he also wants to be attentive to the needs and opportunities of other projects. And this is also similar to the project manager of the NGO. Their needs are similar. So if you look at our last user case, who is the local citizen, what he wants is, she wants to be able to find out about projects that are going on in her area. And she also wants to be able to report the needs of her and her community members. So to this far, I think all I can add on is that this platform is going to help us to build active networks with each other, regardless of who you are, whether you are a decision maker, whether you are the end user or just a local citizen. The GeoSem platform is going to help you to be able to have a social network, an active social network, where you can connect with someone who's in Malawi, someone who's in the US, someone who's in Asia, someone who's in India. You can access these people just at the comfort of your home and sitting on your computer. This far, thank you very much. I will hand over to Willie again.
Thank you very much, Christine. It is very interesting. We wanted to share just some images of the social network if you want. So maybe Christine, you can just stop sharing so Lionel can just share the screen so we can see how is the social network shaped, and just to give some like 1 or 2 minutes inside of the platform so we can step into question and if there are some questions. So Lionel, feel free to share your screen and to give us like a live demo of the platform. That is a platform that is exactly. Thank you, Lionel. If you can, okay, it's fine. So as you can see, the platform is just like the Geo platform Derek just presented, but it's something more designed. So you can click to have at the local level information there. So you can have your thematics, you can have your layer, you can click to have data at the local level. So that was the mapping part. You also have the discovery, that is the social network where you can locate project. You have all the posts in your left. You can have the connection to the Sustainable Development Goals. So you can click to have more information on the post. But if you need to have more information on the post, like you can click to comment, you need to log in. When you log in on the platform, you click the login and you come back, you see you have the notification up there already. If you have a login, you can connect, click on a project and have the location of the project with some summarized information. But you can also click on your left on the global project to have more information on the project. So you can scroll down and you can see the location of the project on ground and have people comment. People can like and share this. It's like a normal social network, but based on the map. So you have the post. You also can have the groups. So you can have the groups and pages. But yes, you can also, this is how it works when you want to create your project. You just click on creating project, you click the circle. You can just take like using a cycle project. So you click on using a cycle project, you locate your project, you select the topic. You click and you select the topic, and then you can post your project directly by specifying the sustainable development goals that are connected to the project. So you can, as I said, you can have also the groups and pages there where maybe a community can organize and have a group, and their group has more events, have location information also. You can have people that are connected to the platform, you can connect to them. And all those actors are territorial stakeholders. It's something that is very important, but also actors of innovation, and everyone come and make it possible to have spatial dialogue on everything that works on the local level. So you can have your messaging, you can write, you can locate your events. Will not go very far into the presentation, but I think this is something that we really want, and we have launched the infrastructure last month, and now we are working on the, let's say, the prototype, the MVP of the project will be available. And this platform, we have built the infrastructure in such a way that it's available for the whole world. So now you can work at the local level using this platform for the territorial stakeholders. So maybe we can stop our presentation now, but if people need more information on what we are doing or what we intend to do, we are open also for questions if people have direct questions. So I just want to thank again organizer for this wonderful opportunity they gave us to present our own experience and what we do. So we really appreciate, and we hope also we can share our own experience, and maybe with this platform tomorrow, communities can connect, and maybe we can have best practice. We can raise awareness on positive experiences. So that is what we wanted to share with you today. Thank you very much all for connecting. Thank you. I don't know how it works. If people have questions, do they have? Can you, maybe someone has a question? You can take the floor directly and ask a question, or you can write into the chat also. I don't know if there is a specific way of interacting with people. I think we still have enough time to discuss. If you want us to come back on something else to show, to maybe give more information on some specific area, please. So feel free to ask your question. We are available. You can even write into the chat. I don't know if someone can raise their hand. Yes, feel free to come into the chat and ask your question if you have one. There's still no question. Yes, Jessica, I see you off your mic. Then just ask your question if you want. If you have a question. No, Jessica is an interpreter, if I'm not wrong. Yes, that's the French interpreter.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, please.
Just trying to put my camera on so you see me. Okay, so my name is Itumeleng Musa and I am an intern for the city of Cape Town. I'm in Cape Town, South Africa, and I work as I have a background in GIS, so I work as a GIS assistant for the city, specifically in the rivers and stormwater catchment branch. So I was quite impressed to see what the work that you guys are doing. And I have two questions actually. The first one is, are there any tutorials for the GeoSim portal, if it's a portal, out there? Because I think there's more to it than maybe what we can see now, maybe because of time constraints. That's the first question, because I would like to really engage more in it and see what it can do. And then the second question relates to flooding. In Cape Town, there's yeah, we have a big problem, especially now during the rainy season. The government, like, we would normally have a winter awareness plan for when there's going to be floods. So also we have a problem of land invasion. So I think Derek mentioned in his presentation that because of the work that you guys are doing, then the government or officials are able to identify areas that are prone to flooding, and then people can be moved to areas that are not prone to flooding, right? So I wanted to know if in a case of land invasion, like Cape Town, where people just invade land each and every day because of lack of housing, lack of affordable housing mainly. So is there a way that GeoSim or any other, basically GeoSim can sort of predict areas that are prone to land invasion and that are, in this case, also prone to flooding, so that the government can maybe implement measures or prepare themselves or put in restrictions to say, how do I put this? But to restrict invasion, which is something very hard to do because people just go there and stay without, illegally, I should say. So is there a way that GeoSim can sort of predict that for the government, and then they can make measures for the future? Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that question. I think I will try to give an answer for the first one, and Derek, I think you can answer the second question, because I think it's also involved the early warning system in this topic. So Yes, we went very fast on GeoSM. We have tutorial where you can use to understand more how it works. It's a platform, maybe for now, it's open to citizens and it's also available. That is scalable. We can use this platform even in your own city. So if you are interested to have such platform in, I think you said you are from Cape Town, it's possible. It's something that we can work on and very fast to make the platform to be available in your own context based on open information like OpenStreetMap, and then maybe focus on specific data that may be related on this topic. Yes, for the tutorial, I think it's available, but always we need to adapt according to the context, because we can have a tutorial for Yaounde, but it's very difficult to, let's say, we need to tell it according to the territory where you work. So each city will have its own tutorial, but if you need a global idea of how it works, we can make it available to you, so you can see what are the features and some functionalities that we could not present. So for the second question, I will give over to Derek, so maybe you can give some answers to.
So for the prediction, but as I said before, right now, GeoSM is not yet doing flood predictions, but as I said, the portal is built on QGIS server or on QGIS if you want. So knowing the power of QGIS server and the tools that evolve around QGIS server, such as JDAL or OGL, and all the algorithm that revolves around the server, it is well possible to build a model, because right now you can build scripts, predictive scripts in QGIS, and just put it in the server, and then now on the portal know how to implement that in the user interface. That is very, very possible. That's why the portal, not only the technology that we use is free, open source, and even the code that have been written for the purpose is free and open and is available online on GitHub. So any developer, any QGIS developer normally can use the script and play around and even do amazing things that we are not even yet thinking of. But on one other part, the social network that we are trying to connect to the portal, even if it's not a type of prediction, can also help in early to get information quickly from the field, from the population. So if you imagine, since our social network that is directly linked to the portal, and is means that everybody can locate actually in real time a phenomenon happening, and just like Wikipedia, somebody can confirm or infirm the information. Like if maybe you are saying there's flooding happening right now in my quarter, and I go out, I see nothing, I can directly come and say no, this is not possible. So this is also this was one of the objectives of also specializing the social network, because it can easily be verified. The information can easily be verified. But yeah, as you said, your town is the problem your town is facing is the problem most of the African cities are facing right now. And this is why we are really engaged in this type of initiatives, because we believe it's only through a participatory approach that we can really solve our problems.
Thank you, Derek. Even though I think your mic is very low, we don't really get you well. Maybe you should try to see if you can at the volume. Yes, very low, very, very low. On my side, I don't know if it's the same case everywhere. So, is there any other question, please? that someone may want to ask? Okay, I think if there is no more question, I don't know, Rice Africa team, what do you propose us do? Do we close the session now? Do we have more demo? What is the traditional way?
Sorry, another question. Is it possible to have, after the session, access to your slides, maybe for further reading or something, like people who attended, so that it wasn't just a listen and go session? Yeah.
I think this should be possible, maybe in the global platform, but if you want, we can share contact. And if you want to receive directly those presentation, I think it is possible, but I think, and I hope this presentation will be available on the global Wise Africa platform.
Can I just add that a recording will be available on the YouTube, but there's also a survey that you can fill out, where you can provide your email address and things, and yeah, you could directly contact each other and exchange the presentations and stuff, if that's something that any of the participants would be interested in. Maybe I can ask my colleagues, Lauren, to maybe just put up that survey form again, and then you can please complete that.
Yeah, I think that will help more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, if there's no other questions or anything else, any other comments that we can share, I think we can potentially close the session earlier, if everyone's fine with that. We've got a question in the chat box, actually, from Fanon. She says, I want to know more about this platform and how to use it. Sorry, I'm trying to see what's happening in the chat. But yeah, Willie has said that you're welcome to get a hold of him, and then I suppose have the discussion offline, if that's something.
Hi, if I can help you with that question. So all the registrants of this webinar will receive the recording, but they will also be linked with the speakers. So they will be able to contact the speakers afterwards to continue this conversation after the RISE event.
Okay, thank you very much.
Cool. So it's up to you, Willie, and Derek and team to decide what the next steps are, I think.
The next step of the project, right?
Oh no, of the webinar, of this session.
I don't know if we have more tool, we have more demo, we have some information we can share, but I think mostly we really wanted to interact with people. If there are some questions, if you also have a question, you can feel free to ask if you have one. So we really want to make this platform, it's already available worldwide. So now we want to build this prototype for the social network to connect, as I said, to enable spatial dialogue with the different actors of the digital ecosystem, and in order to transform the challenges into opportunities, and also to try to as Christine just presented, we really focus on 3 pillars that are data. Data is very important, but more than traditional data, it's important to have information on people that are there, their portfolio, what they do, their experience, so we can connect this data, connect these people, and to have, let's say, something that will empower all these actors. And also focusing on the sustainable development goals is really important. This tool is such like a georeference monitoring and evaluation of these SDGs. So people can have the location of various projects that are connected to these SDGs and can also engage into it, because we need more accountability, more transparency in this new era of digital transformation. Also, with the decentralization going on, the local council needs more interaction with the citizen. This is all about the project, and yep, so I don't know, we can finish earlier if there's no more question. I see there's a comment somewhere, let me check. Oh, it's an email. So yes, so people can feel free to contact us, and also we will be sharing the recording in various platforms, so people that may not be available today can have it on YouTube to have more information on what we do.
I see there's a question from Fanon. Fanon, you're welcome to turn on your camera and mic and ask if you would like to.
Yes.
Yeah, the question is, it says, I'm working on a project that aims to map zoonotic for the purpose of enhancing surveillance to reduce its spread. How can we use this platform, and does it support that?
I think Derek, that question is for you. Please, you can take it.
Okay, thank you, Willie. I hope the people can get me right now. Like,
yes.
Mike, is it? Okay. So I'll just be very brief, say what I've said before. Generally in disease mapping, the classical tool that people generally use is ODK. Okay, they're going to map what they want to map and get it on the ODK platform or maybe the Kobo Toolbox platform. But our tool is built on QGIS server. Now there are alternative tools that are also built, mobile tools that are also built on QGIS server that are compatible with QGIS, and if they are compatible with QGIS, means they are also compatible with our platform. And these tools can be QField. QField is the application that we used to map the points of interest in the whole city of Yaounde. And since it is very compatible, I easily imagine how this can easily be connected to the platform, so that when people are mapping on real time on the field, you can actually see the data on the platform on real time. So it's also a type of monitoring tool why people are. Now, maybe the analysis that you want to do behind after the mapping, again, you are still working on QGIS server. If you can enhance the power of QGIS, then you can do anything with this platform. Everything you need to do is just be creative, because the platform is open. So you just be creative on it.
Something else maybe I can add, Derek, is that why did we make the platform to be open source? Is because maybe you can work on a specific topic on, let's say, waste management in Ghana, and you develop a plugin, and directly this plugin will be available for Kenya, because people there will have the social network. They will be aware that a similar project has been carried in Ghana. People have used this specific tool and this plugin to solve the problem. And this also will help people to connect to you and exchange skill, and then maybe adapt it to their own context without paying because we don't think that the future is to have people that will pay some licenses to have the solution, the technical solution for their problem. But this is something that is very interesting also for the educational part, because we will connect IT citizen or students with the geographer in order to build more interesting tool. And this also can connect these students that used to work on the terrain, on the specific municipality. Maybe they can connect with an NGO that may want to access to their maybe project or data. And this also creates a lot of opportunities there, and something that is really interesting. There's a lot of project going on field, but there's really lack of coordination. You don't know who is doing what, where, how much. You just look, and at the end of the day, in the context of the fragility, people are not very happy, and this can lead to violence and conflicts. That is why we really want to involve more citizens into this decision and what's going on in the local level using MAP. And today we're working on the resilience and inclusiveness, but maybe it's maybe in other agenda of the sustainable development goals as well.
And it's also important to mention that we are not going to lie ourselves. Our municipalities don't have the finance of developed countries. So they generally they have very little resources, and they are not generally ready to allocate these resources in maybe pursuing software licenses. Maybe if I can imagine something like ArcGIS, where you have to buy the software license. If maybe now you want to migrate to their platform, you have to buy the ArcGIS Online or maybe the ArcGIS Enterprise licenses. They don't have the finance to do that. Also, they don't even sometimes have the technical capacities in their municipalities. So what we are trying to do is not only to create a tool that is free for these municipalities so that it can really help them, but also make the tool as easy as possible so that even the technical guy with basic GIS knowledge can easily use this tool to help the municipality make informed decisions. So that is our main goal, is really to make a tool that is user-friendly and very, very low cost, that's cheap. Now, anybody can have can take the source code and do whatsoever he wants to do with it. He can go and build other tools with it, and then maybe make money out of it. That's not our concern. We have a basic concern is to empower the local communities, and that's what we're trying to do in this project.
Thank you, Derek, for that input. If there's another question, comments?
Another question. So is GeoSim like an extension to, I want to get if it's like the difference between the two and why the GeoSim is, how do I say this? Maybe more user-friendly, or kind of what's the other, it is used in conjunction with what again? What's the other software?
You are the one to tell us. I don't know.
No, you've been mentioned. I just forgot the name. It's GeoSim and.
Maybe Christine, you can go on these questions and to give your position.
Oh, you said QGIS. Sorry.
Yes, GeoSM is a platform, but QGIS is the engine. And Christine can give you more information or more information on how is it user-friendly and why do we need to use GeoSM than something else. Maybe Christine, I think this is something.
Now I wanted to know if it's an extension inside QGIS Yeah, that's what I wanted to know, not comparing it with maybe ACMEP or any other. Yeah,
okay.
that's what I wanted to understand.
Christine also can still answer to that question.
Hi, Willie, you're my name. Yeah. Okay, so GeoSim is not an extension. It's a totally new platform, but then it works. QGIS is part of GeoSim also. Like you can access data from QGIS through GeoSim. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I don't. Yeah, because I was thinking of the mapping component. If I have access to QGIS data, then I can work on GeoSim. Doesn't matter where I am in the world. Even here in Cape Town, I can use it. That's what I wanted to find out.
Yes, you can. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
But then I think, as Willie said, we are still in process of implementing it in all the countries. But then after we are done, it's going to be available like in all countries, in Cape Town, South Africa,
So how will we know when it's available? When it's available? It's just like, it's so cool, and I'm really, really curious and want to be able to use it here also.
That's a very important question. So I think after we are going to have all the contacts of everybody that participated to the conference, then we are going to put them in our mailing list, because we keep them updated on the evolution of GeoSM, so they can always get feedback. And maybe, do we still have time? If we still have time, maybe I'll propose that we maybe should just give a brief history of why this platform was actually put into place, because the challenges that we were facing in Cameroon were enormous. Like, you cannot, before this platform, you could not in Cameroon like try to do a project and easily have data. Imagine you're a student, you're at the end of your thesis, you're looking for data to maybe to do your thesis. You go to the Ministry of maybe Public Transport, Ministry of Public Works, to maybe get some transport data or some road network data. They are going to tell you, okay, maybe pass tomorrow, or maybe go to the other ministry, or they're going to make you turn around, and at the end of the day, you don't get data. But this data is in somebody's computer somewhere, doing nothing, serving no purpose. So at the end of the day, you see, the money that have been used by the country to produce a huge amount of data remains in people's computers and just disappears there. NGOs comes in country, they do a lot of projects, they collect a lot of data, and maybe they want to give this data to somebody, but to who? There's nobody available that they know they can give this data, and it's going to be made available to everybody. So what we are trying to do is one of the challenges that GeoSM is trying to solve, first of all, is to centralize data at the national level. So all the data of the country that has a spatial component is centralized in one database where everybody can come and have access to when needed. So if I have data today that I feel like is data that can be made publicly available, I make it publicly available on GeoSM, so that tomorrow, if somebody wants to come and work in the same area where I was, he does not have to spend additional resources in collecting data again. So, and now, if he too have data on another place, he makes it available. So it's a sort of contribution. Everybody contributes and everybody gains in the process. So that is why we're trying to implement in Africa. And that's why we were saying that if somebody may be in this process, build a plugin in Ghana to solve a particular problem, maybe related to waste management, this plugin is immediately made available on all the other countries having the same platform, because what we're doing now is we're building this platform for every country of the world. So if one person makes a huge improvement on the tool in one country, it's made available in all the other countries. So everybody can actually just try to bring a whole community together. And that's the part of the connect in that we're trying to do, because we said we have data, connect, and power. That's the part of connect that we're trying to do. Connect people in order to empower them.
Thank you, Derek. Definitely, I think we need to invite her to Cameroon for a few days to discuss what maybe the collaboration between South Africa and Cameroon. Are there more questions, please? Comments? Feel free. Maybe I think as far as Alexandra is connected, maybe we choose the wrong title for this workshop. I think people usually now like some titles that are very like related to smart city, something that is very technologically oriented. Maybe we could have chosen. Yes, maybe we could have chosen a topic like artificial intelligence or smart city, smart tech city. I don't know, but Alexandra was in charge of the project, so she decided to propose participatory mapping for decision making. And yeah, I think it's also interesting to see what is the average of participation in some workshop, and it may be interesting also to share the record so we can also share into our network. So we are also sorry that we don't have more French speaker here, even though we also have French speaker, but I also feel as if they are not always very, I don't know if they are not included or they exclude themselves, or Africa is all languages. It will be really interesting to see how language can still not be a challenge for our communities. So yeah, so we are, as I said, we are presently in Ivory Coast for the same reason. We are training more than 50 institutional actors. At this specific moment, I just step out to have this call now, and it's the same issue on how do we adapt, how do we plan in the urban area in the context of climate change, and how can we make our cities more resilient and inclusive. And yeah, I don't know if there are more questions, but we are still there. Who are the key actors of the participatory mapping? Do you want an answer in French or in English? Tu souhaites avoir une réponse en français ou en anglais? I guess it may be in French because he wrote the answer. So I will answer in French and maybe to translate it in English. Merci beaucoup François pour la question. Quels sont les acteurs clés de la cartographie participative? En réalité, tout dépend du problème. Tout dépend du problème initial. Il faut d'abord identifier le problème initial et les acteurs clés d'un projet dépendent donc de ce problème aussi. Toutefois, on pense qu'il est nécessaire de manière générale de plus en plus d'inclure tous les différents acteurs de la société dans l'élaboration d'une solution qui touche à tout le monde. Donc, il ne faut pas négliger un fragment de la société. Mais, de manière générale, on les structure, les acteurs de l'écosystème, en catégories. Vous avez les ONG, les étudiants, le secteur public, dont l'État, les collectivités, et les entreprises dans lesquelles on trouve les startups. Mais, naturellement, le citoyen est un acteur aussi à part entière, qui peut être membre de ces catégories, mais qui peut être considéré comme un acteur unique dans sa position. Et ça peut être des populations vulnérables qui vivent dans des forêts ou qui vivent dans des écosystèmes qui se trouvent menacés. Ça peut être des populations, on parle beaucoup de, on va dire quoi, des questions de genre. On parle aussi des enfants, on parle généralement des femmes et des enfants. Mais dans le contexte actuel de la cartographie des inondations, nos acteurs clés étaient les décideurs, ceux pour qui justement l'information était nécessaire pour prendre de bonnes décisions. Les décideurs, c'était donc le maire et les acteurs de l'État qui prennent des décisions, qui élaborent les documents de planification en fait, ou bien qui imposent les servitudes ou les règlements d'urbanisme sur les territoires. Mais, comme on a expliqué dans le schéma, en fait, dans notre présentation, ce qu'on constate généralement, c'est que les décideurs réalisent des études et ces études-là s'imposent aux populations. Il est nécessaire d'avoir une démarche intégrée et intégrale qui intègre la population dans l'élaboration de la solution, de manière à ce qu'ils puissent eux aussi donner leur avis lors de l'élaboration de la solution. Et la cartographie participative a ceci d'intéressant, c'est qu'elle met ensemble l'intelligence collective pour pouvoir sécréter une solution. Et lorsqu'on parle des inondations, cette intelligence collective est très importante dans un contexte où on souhaite avoir la connaissance de la population par rapport aux inondations de leur lieu. Et généralement, les personnes âgées et toute autre personne ont des avis assez pertinents à donner parce que si, pour les problèmes d'inondation, les modèles scientifiques nous montrent des choses sur le terrain, généralement, ces modèles ne nous disent pas les conséquences et les causes de ces inondations. Et dans le cadre d'une action de cartographie participative, on va donc cibler les groupes et les communautés vulnérables, les acteurs qui, de près ou de loin, sont impactés ou bien peuvent tirer un bénéfice d'une telle opération. Et ce qu'on a dit, en fait, c'est qu'il faudrait associer le maximum d'acteurs lors des opérations de ce genre. Pourquoi? Parce que la donnée qu'on produit initialement pour les inondations peut être réutilisée même par les acteurs de l'écosystème pour l'innovation. Donc finalement, ce qui est un challenge au départ devient aussi une opportunité. Les étudiants ont besoin de données pour travailler. Tout le monde a besoin d'informations. Maintenant, en connectant ces acteurs au travers d'un réseau social, on continue à maintenir la participation autour de la cartographie, mais de manière digitale. Ça permet donc un dialogue spatial entre les acteurs pour réfléchir de manière permanente ensemble sur les solutions permanentes et durables qu'ils peuvent élaborer sur un territoire. C'est un peu de ça dont il s'agit. I hope it was clear for. J'espère que c'était clair pour l'interprétation. Good.
I think there's another, or from the same person, from Francois. I'm not sure if that was answered.
Yes, the second question, the process. Quel est le processus d'implémentation de manière technique de ce projet? Les étapes d'Éric, est-ce que tu as partagé les étapes du projet?
Non, je pense que c'est dans l'autre PowerPoint.
Parce qu'on je cherche, comment on a appelé ça?
Je cherche assez rapidement chez moi.
Ouais, attends. Parce que je veux trouver une image pour lui montrer les différentes étapes du projet. Ce sera plus simple. Je cherche juste une slide pour lui montrer, mais si entre-temps, il y a d'autres questions, je suis preneur.
Fabrice, do you want to unmute and ask your question?
Oui, j'ai trouvé. Je pense que j'ai trouvé le slide.
Moi, c'est quoi le nom, le titre, le lien?
Chez moi, ça s'appelle tout simplement présentation PowerPoint.
Non, c'est pas ça.
Je parle des étapes avec les composants.
C'est bon. Can I share my screen just? Ça s'appelle guide.
OK.
Hop. Les différentes étapes de projet, est-ce que vous voyez mon écran?
Oui, oui, oui.
Donc, la première étape, donc, c'est la définition des objectifs. Donc, il y a d'abord, comme vous le voyez, du projet OpenCity, on définit les objectifs et les acteurs clés du projet. Première étape. Donc, vous avez le partenariat est capital dans le cadre d'un projet de cartographie participative. Ensuite, on valide ensemble le champ d'intervention. On définit de manière précise les zones géographiques où on va intervenir pour le projet. Ensuite, on évalue les ressources existantes. Ça veut dire qu'on voit avec les acteurs leurs connaissances, s'il y a besoin de ressources matérielles en plus. Et ensuite, on met en place la logistique qu'il faut pour réaliser le projet. Avant de passer à la phase d'exécution, on recense les besoins logistiques et puis tout ce qui est matériel, informatique et tout. Ensuite, on passe à la formation des enquêteurs. Sur un plan pratique, on essaie de leur montrer les différentes technologies et les outils que nous allons utiliser. Ensuite, la phase de collecte de données, en utilisant les technologies modernes, les drones, les smartphones, en rencontrant les populations, la cartographie participative est une phase de la collecte de données. On va auprès des populations. Ensuite, le contrôle qualité des données. On contrôle la qualité des données et ensuite, on produit les livrables. Les livrables sont les atlas, le géoportail, les cartes de synthèse, l'application mobile, comme Derrick a présenté tout à l'heure. Et ensuite, on identifie les nouveaux challenges pour les villes innovantes de demain. Quels seraient les nouveaux challenges par rapport à la position et aux résultats obtenus? Et ceci dans un cycle continu. Et c'est à ce niveau de nouveaux challenges qu'on propose dans le réseau social pour connecter les acteurs du territoire pour qu'ensemble, on puisse travailler sur ces nouveaux challenges, nouvelles opportunités aussi, pour qu'on puisse avoir de manière digitale des villes plus résilientes, voilà, qui s'adaptent bien par rapport aux chocs externes. Voilà ce que je voulais présenter pour ce qui est de la méthode.
Il y a une autre question sur le chat. Donc, il dit bonsoir. Bonsoir à tous et désolé également pour mon retard. J'ai sûrement raté beaucoup de choses intéressantes. La question que j'aimerais soumettre est celle de savoir comment gérer les différents intérêts, généralement égoïstes, des uns et des autres dans cette manière de travailler. Ton micro. Ton micro, Willy. Ton micro, Willy, ton micro.
Sorry. Christine, can you hear me? It may be interesting for you to give an answer to this question. Derrick, maybe, I don't know if someone can translate, or Derrick, you can read, I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Can someone translate?
Okay. So he's asking how do we manage the different interests of the stakeholders? Because generally these interests are egocentric. So everybody wants to pull the interest on the side. So how do we manage all these stakeholders and their particular interests?
Sorry, you're saying how do we manage like the different users and their particular interest?
No, the different stakeholders. Yes, the different stakeholders, because we know the different stakeholders have different interests in the project. Maybe the Ministry of Urban Planning maybe wants only to do roads. Maybe the Ministry of Electricity maybe wants to do electrification and stuff. Everybody has his own interest and always wants to pull the project on his side. So how do you manage all these interests of different stakeholders?
Okay, so the platform, since the platform has access to everyone and people can access the platform based on their needs that they're looking for. For example, if one stakeholder is looking at roads, they'll be able to access data that is related to the roads. And since it's a social network, if there's someone who has a particular interest in the same roads, I think the platform will be able to help them interact based on their specific needs, which is roads. Whilst if someone else, another stakeholder, their interest is in, let's say, buildings, that stakeholder will also be able to interact with people who are interested in that specific need. So the platform basically caters for every person with their specific needs. There is no like, I don't think there's any problem in the specific needs like colliding with each other. Like everyone will be addressed with their needs, and I think the people that are interested in your particular need will come to you, and then you'll be able to access the information that you want. So there is no, I don't know if that answers your question. There's no collision, there's no disturbance. It's it's a free platform.
I want to follow up on that, and maybe this is also something that he was leaning towards, but when you're collecting the data, how do you ensure that different participants' views and needs are sort of reflected in the data that has been collected? For example, I mean, in a community, different people have different interests, and women's needs, for example, is very different to other someone that's disabled, maybe their needs. And so how do these how does this platform sort of reflect these different interest groups and different vulnerabilities, and maybe it's also just the way that participatory mapping is done in terms of having different groups separately, or how the power dynamics within communities and stuff, and how do you break those and make sure that everyone's interests and needs and stuff is reflected?
Really, I just feel I want to jump into this because is the last project we did in Douala, where as really showed the steps of the project. So the first part that we generally do is to map all the stakeholders. Like mapping them means we go to.
You have a problem with your mic, I think. There's some parasite.
Hey, sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
Can you get me now?
Check the.
Okay. So
the connection with the.
Yes.
Earphone.
Yes, I think that's the issue.
Okay, it's good. Go on.
So as I was saying, it makes me think of the last project we did, or we are still doing in Douala, where, as you showed on your slide, the first step we generally do is, first of all, to identify the stakeholders and go and map them. And when we say mapping them, it's actually mapping their needs. We go to each and every stakeholder. Yes, it's up. Yes. So we go to each and every stakeholder and we ask him, how what is your concern in relationship to floods? How does floods affect your activities? And what can we do in the context of this project to help you be more resilient to when floods occur? I take, for example, when we go to see firefighters, that's a main actor in flood risk when floods occur. They have their needs that is different from maybe the Ministry of Health. That is completely different. So when we meet the firefighters, most of the time they will say, okay, when generally there are floods, we don't actually know where the waters, where there's high levels of water and where there are low levels of water. And so when our cars go into those areas, generally we realize only when we arrive in the area that we do not bring the necessary or the ideal equipment in order to assist the population. So if you can map maybe the water points where we can that we can use, so that etc. So they will define their needs. Then you go to the Ministry of Health. The Ministry of Health will give you also their own opinion, and they are going to tell you the type of data that they need into this process. So going from one stakeholder to the other, we now in building out the data model to collect the data, we take into consideration all this information acquired from all the stakeholders, so that when we collect this information and when we produce the deliverables, all the stakeholders find themselves in the deliverables. If you go into the portal, you're going to see that if you're a firefighter, you come onto the portal, you are going to see all the water points of the municipality where you can easily go and connect yourself to get water, and maybe in case of any fire incident. Or you can see only just from the map the areas where waters are very high or waters are low when floods occur. So if you are going to rescue people in areas where the waters are very high, you know the type of equipment that you have to take along with you, and or you know also the precautions that you have to take in order to go in this type of areas. And these are the returns that we got from the field when we went and met each of these actors.
Thanks. Do we have any other questions? So the session was supposed to end at 7, but I mean, if anyone wants to still ask some more questions, I'm happy to hand over the hosting privileges to either Willie or Derek, and you guys can carry on for another hour, I think.
Allô? Allô?
Oui, allô, Fabrice.
Oui, bonsoir à tous. J'aimerais revenir sur ma question. Déjà, merci pour les interventions.
Ah oui.
Fabrice, ton micro est muté.
Ok, c'est bon?
C'est bon.
Ok, oui, je voulais dire que quand je parlais des intérêts des populations, c'est vrai que vous avez déjà apporté quelques éléments de réponse par rapport aux intervenants qui sont un peu plus à un niveau, à une échelle un peu plus élevée. Mais là, maintenant, j'étais au niveau de la collecte des données et au niveau même des populations. Quand je parlais d'intérêt, c'était en termes de, quand par exemple vous venez sur le terrain, vous voulez peut-être relever, je ne sais pas, les parcelles de terrain, vous voulez peut-être relever les biens des personnes, je ne sais pas si c'est comme ça que ça se passe. Quand je parlais donc d'intérêt, c'était, on connaît tous les problèmes qu'on a généralement avec le foncier. Comment ça se passe lorsque peut-être un riverain A et un riverain B sont peut-être en conflit par rapport peut-être à une parcelle, par rapport peut-être à une zone et tout et tout. Donc, c'était un peu le fond de mon problème là-bas. Comment est-ce que vous arrivez à gérer ce genre de cas-là? Merci.
La situation, la réponse est simple. Hein. Les projets sont menés en directe coordination avec l'État, avec le gouvernement, avec les collectivités. Et devant une volonté, lorsqu'on fait la cartographie participative, s'ils identifient qu'il y a un risque sur le terrain, soit ce risque-là, on peut le surmonter avec les services d'ordre. Donc, il y a un encadrement de l'enquête. Ils le font parce que le travail est d'abord aussi au bénéfice de l'État, du gouvernement, des collectivités. Donc, on est vraiment, c'est tout l'intérêt. On ne descend pas sur le terrain sans autorisation formelle des acteurs locaux et parmi lesquels le maire. Ils sont tous informés. Et si à un moment donné, on note qu'il y a une réticence, qu'il y a un problème, ils en sont informés tout de suite. Mais lorsqu'on parle de cartographie participative, on travaille en focus group. L'enquêteur n'est pas forcément toujours abandonné à lui seul. Donc, c'est un groupe de personnes qui préalablement ont été identifiées, briefées et puis réunies à un lieu bien identifié pour travailler sur les problèmes de la collectivité. Effectivement, la cartographie participative intervient dans la gestion des problèmes fonciers. Et bon, de toute façon, oui, le foncier est un problème, mais généralement, on arrive toujours à trouver une solution lorsque on travaille en collaboration directe avec l'État.
Ok, d'accord, merci.
Je vous en prie. Over to you. I think if there's no more question, maybe we should stop the session if there's no more questions. Est-ce qu'il y a d'autres questions?
Je pense qu'il n'y a plus de questions dans le chat. Toutes les questions ont été répondues.
We have to end the session soon. The interpreter needs is only with us for the next few minutes or so. And Zoom is going to cut us out. So, I mean, there's also opportunity to continue the conversation offline. And I suppose once everyone has contact details of each other, if that's okay.
Can you repeat, please?
We did not get your word, please. Can you come back?
Excuse me?
We did not get your word. Can you please repeat?
Oh, so our interpreters are only with us for another 2 minutes or so. And we need to also end the session. Otherwise, Zoom is going to cut us off. We only have the session for 2 hours.
I think it's okay for now. We can close the session now.
Okay.
That is fine.
Okay, but that's great. And it's been very interesting conversation. And I hope that we all can continue this conversation offline once we have everyone's contact details and things.